I have a whole new
All right.
admiration for people who do
Okay.
television
Okay. We're
professionally.
starting. We're 3, 2, 1 on air. This is Penelope Flynn and Cranston and Sonia, your Blerdsassins Next Door, and we're here on this Hallowtide, Hallowmass period this season to basically talk to you about the thinning of the veil, the period of the year when the days and nights are close to the same length, and we're supposed to be able to reach through and connect with those individuals on the other side, and they can connect to us. And so we're going to talk a little bit tonight about that period. And of course, this evening we have with us Cranston and Sonia, and hopefully a few more people are dropping in. But I guess before we get started, we can talk about the weather. We have people with weather. Cranston, how is it?
It has been a pleasant week. It hasn't been heat stroke hot, nor has it been sweater cool. It's been in the mid 80s all week and only rained once, and that was last night at about 2 in the morning. So,
All right. I'm glad you're getting something that's positive. Are you needing the rain? Because
no,
no.
actually, because of the rain was extremely heavy this summer, we were way above the normal rain, even without the storms coming by. So we've been doing pretty good. No wildfires, no burnouts or anything like that. Even lightning strikes have been behaving themselves.
All right. So how about you, Sonia? Good weather in your area?
Beautiful looking time. It's now 33 degrees
Whoa!
and getting colder. It was 80
Whoa.
degrees on no, 80 degrees on the 30th, 78 on Halloween at night. It was that hot, and then it plunged back down. So,
Wow!
and it's going to go down and then go back up again, but not as high. Supposed to
Wow!
get down to 30, 31 tonight, and then by Wednesday it'll be back up into 70s.
Wow! So I mean, our weather has been. We had the day of Halloween. It woke up in the morning. It's 54 degrees, and then I was, oh wow, this is great. It's been nice, cool and stuff. But steadily during the day, it went high, even higher and higher. But by the time it was night, it went up to like in the high 70s and dropped back down into the
So we
60s.
were actually warmer than you were.
It was in the 60s, mid high 60s, Halloween, which is very very nice. Uh, so did you all give out candy or trick or treaters coming by, anything of that ilk?
We had a few. Fortunately, we bought candy we liked, so it wasn't heartbroken when they didn't take it all.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, for us, we usually have quite a few, but this year we hardly had any. I mean, compared with what we normally have, which is droves of kids. But again, Thursday night, so we had a lot of the elementary school kids. Their parents bring them by, but the middle school kids and high school kids, which you usually have a whole bunch of, we didn't have our.
We had actually more teenagers than
Really?
little ones. Yeah, greedy
Oh,
teenagers.
yeah. I mean, but it was so funny because I mean, our things like scaring, the kids and stuff like that. So that was a lot of fun. We got you know, Otto is just coming in now, and man, he scared those little kids. I mean, you gotta talk about your kid scaring Otto.
Yeah, I mean, which one?
Oh, yeah, all of them, I
We
mean,
had so many, huh?
yeah, he was
I had a
working
body
that kid
count of
scaring.
I had a body count of 2 kids at least.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
pretended to be. I stood next to an animatronic zombie, which Penelope put together very well, and
thank you.
it was very frightening. And I stood beside it and also pretended to be an animatronic. And when the kids came close, I threw off my disguise and an animatronic and became more active and chased them down the porch.
It was funny.
It was funny. It was good.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean,
Yeah.
this one little boy though, I mean, he was like up and down the walkway, then back down the walk, then up the walkway, then back down. I mean,
Yeah,
it
I
took
just gave
10
up. I just
minutes.
gave up. I gave up
Yeah.
and just brought him the damn candy. Otherwise,
Yeah.
he was never.
He really did. His walk that gave him the candy, and he would never come up to it because I mean, I don't have
Yeah, I just took off my mask and gave him the candy. I said,
yeah.
poor
Because they got
baby. His mother tried to bring him. His mother tried to bring him up to the porch to get the candy past the zombie, and he was kicking and screaming, "No, no, no!"
I mean, yeah.
I did my job.
Yes.
But you realize now that every time she wants this kid to behave, she's going to say, "Well, I'm going to take you back down the street." So
That's right. I take you down there with that
I know.
vampire thing.
I would say to that mother, "You're welcome. You're welcome, Mom. You're welcome."
That's what you're welcome. All of y'all, you're welcome. So did you all dress, or did you all just, do the thing of hanging out and just being the normal, handing out candies?
We just handed out. There was one guy down the street who was sitting in the driveway to hand out candy, but he forgot to turn on any lights around him, so nobody saw him.
Oh no!
I think the brave ones who saw him out of the corner of the eye went to them, but I was like, now how's these little ones are gonna see?
Yeah. Oh.
Because we had a little cute little girl. She was dressed up like Elsa or Anna. Elsa, and she thank you for the candy. And I'm like, oh, that she's so not going up to that guy.
Not going. I mean, we had some kids, and the best outfits that I saw, in my mind, I think we had a lot of little outfits, but these two kids came up dressed as Thing 2 and Thing 1.
oh,
Wow!
I didn't know the cat in the hat was in it.
Oh my god!
I didn't know a cat in the hat was a thing for them. I thought...
Me either, but it was just so what we started singing Thing 2 and Thing 1 song. I couldn't believe it. They had little kids dressed as Thing 2 and Thing 1. So that was so cute.
We had a female Beetlejuice came up and her sneakers glowed in the dark, so it made her feet look a little spectral. And as she came up to the door, she went, "It's showtime."
Oh, right.
She probably was like 4 or 5, but yeah, it's showtime. We're like, okay, here, just take all the candy. You won.
I mean, we had a great job because Evan, of course, was helping us put out candy. Evan was your Adam was here to give out candy. Stone was there to give out candy. And if you check on my Facebook page, I think you'll see I have a posting of a picture of us in the house, in front of the house, with our big pumpkin and our zombie and all that, out for the holiday in our little graveyard and our hearse. And because everyone was kind of dressed, wearing the jumpsuit with the proton pack. I mean, throughout the night, we were singing the Ghostbusters songs, especially, the Ghostbusters 2. We had such a ball.
I would say this. I said to the neighborhood association, and I hate to sound corny, but I am, and said, kids coming up to porches and getting candy. And none of these kids, I've never seen them before. They're just in the neighborhood and they go to school. I have no interaction with them and whatsoever, but the faith of going up to a house, getting candy and dressing up is what makes this country great. And it's a break from the vitriol that we've been suffering for the large part of this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so lovely, especially we come into this campaign season. What a break to have something so nice, so pleasant. Parents coming up with their little kids, and there's candy. Everybody getting in there, get you some. So it was so nice. It was just so pleasant, and we had a great time. So we were doing our sing along with Ghostbusters and Nightmare Before Christmas. It was just great, so much fun, and then get back next year and do it again. I mean, ready to do it again. In fact, I want to back up. Okay, let's say.
Yeah. It's good to see that the kids have reclaimed Halloween and the parents have let them do it,
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I mean, we started out over 2 weeks in advance, putting up the Halloween stuff, okay? Putting up my stuff. Everything was fine, and then also we got wind. And the wind just blew and blew my inflatables, blew my hearse into the side of the tree and stuff. So we come back and the outside and everything's flattened.
It was a nightmare situation.
Yes, I mean everything, and you have to look and find. Okay, there's holes and stuff in the things, and I mean I was just okay. Had to go out, and Otto and I hold in each other, find the holes, tape up the holes, put there, restake them so that they're now not, blowing into the trees. It's
But
weird.
you know what though, Penelope? There's no more wind.
Yeah, now of course, yeah, after we did all that, no more wind. But anyway, they're all staked out. And I mean, we were putting that stuff out. And I looked at my hearse and my dragons and my pumpkin. And I thought, you know what? After this Halloween, I'm throwing all this in the trash. And I was going to start all over again next year. I was so upset. And so then, Halloween night comes, it's dark, everything's all lit up. And I'm like, oh, maybe I'll make it another year. Because it looked so great. And I thought, man, I don't want to throw it away. It looks so great. I'm really pleased with it. So, except this whole season, the Halloween, we have All Saints Day, All Souls Day, all this coming up now. What my son Adam likes to call the nightmare before Christmas season. So the going up into the nightmare before Christmas season. That movement between this kind of this spooky things into the Christmas of the Advent, Christmas season, Thanksgiving, and then into the Christmas season. So it's going to be very interesting, how people stretch this thing out and see how it right? But with that said, I started doing some research and about the Day of the Dead this season and what it is that you're supposed to do. And one of the websites I saw, but I think it's like, and where they, I can't remember what it is, sugar cupcakes or cupcake skulls, something like that. I'll find it. But they're saying that what you do during this season is that you put up your altar. The altar, of course, is to venerate, the dead that you have, your family. You're supposed to just have a bottom tier, which is earth, the middle tier, which is limbo, and the top tier, which is heaven. And there's certain things you put on each tier, like you have your rosaries and things at the top tier, and like the food items and things that that person enjoys, on the bottom tier, the earthly things, and then candles and incense and things like to help eat their way, going from one with the bottom tier of the earthly realm into heaven. So I'll find that. I'll find it right quick, and so I can put that into the comments. So if anybody is interested in putting together an altar for their friends or family members, individuals that have passed on, that you want to guide them with some water. You're supposed to put out water for thirst as well, and do that. I think it's a really nice practice for memorializing and remembering those who passed, the things that they enjoyed and things you enjoyed doing with them. So there we go. And it's right here. I'm trying to get this. I'm going to get you to share the link and put it here so that anybody interested in making your altar of the dead, that you can do said thing to venerate your loved ones. So that's what we're in now, this season, where we're in between. And if you think about it, there's some films, a lot of films. At first I was thinking I couldn't think of any, but then you start thinking, yeah, there are some films that talk about the movement between the living and the dead, that veil and stuff between the living and the dead. And I guess one of the first ones, of course, is I think of like The Exorcist, where at the beginning, even though it's a demon thing, that the concept of using a Ouija board in order to contact, those who are on the other side. So, I mean, I think there are many films, many, I guess books where people use this in order to make the contact between the dead. Is there anything that you all can think of, maybe films that you all know, books, short stories, etc., that you all think relate to this movement, between, the thinning of the veil.
Well, it's currently on Tubi. It's a reawakening of a series that had been canceled on Sci-Fi Channel called Winona Earp, and it's Winona Earp Vengeance, and I can't remember which moon they said it was taking place when the veil between our world and the underworld
Mhm.
was thinnest. And they accidentally, they showed in the past where she had accidentally summoned a demon and it took the wrong person. And so now that person's come back after 20 years to seek vengeance for her getting sucked into hell.
Wow.
So and it was and hell is located under an ice flow. So I can't remember where Purgatory. The name of the town is Purgatory, but I can't remember. It's Winona Earp, backing up, is the great great granddaughter of Wyatt Earp, and I think it's every 20 years or something like that, the Earp heir, whoever's the oldest Earp child, has to is required to take out any demons that Earp might have sent down to hell with his gun, and it's only one gun that can send them all back. And so she had sent them all back and was reliving her life when this other demon showed up. But it's a slightly different because it's a demon she created, not Wyatt created.
Okay, I have a question. Okay, now, as you describe this, and I've never seen the Winona Earp show, is that present day or is it like in the
Yes,
past?
it's present day. So it's what she's Earp's great granddaughter. I think that's
Okay.
enough greats. I can't remember how many greats there are, but she's his descendant, and she wasn't even trained because her older sister died. So she was the juvenile delinquent who had to do the hero's journey to prove that she was a worthy heir.
Wow.
It was on for 4 seasons. It's one of those shows that the fans brought back.
Uh-huh.
The fans did so much complaining when it disappeared that they went, okay, we'll give you 1 more year to wrap everything up, because it ended on a cliffhanger. So everybody's like, you got to know how it ended. So they gave him 1 more year, and after that, the fans went, and more. So Tubi picked it up and did a special series. Now they're lobbying. Okay, you proved you can do it. Now bring it back as a series.
All right, wonderful. I mean, when I heard this show, I always thought that it was like, in the Old West. I didn't realize until you were just saying, so your great granddaughter, that this is supposed to be present day.
Yeah, it ties in because Doc Holliday is a character. It's based on a graphic novel.
Okay.
And Doc Holliday didn't die when Wyatt them died. Somebody cursed him and tossed him down a well, so he's been trapped in a well, not dead, but not unable to push himself out of the well to live. So, and they had on this series of shows, they've had vampires and werewolves in addition to the demons that they were hunting. And there's a government agency that helps or maybe not helps them. So that was and it takes itself completely irreverent. They, like, one line in the movie that just aired, they said, hey, it's getting the gang all back together. And they're like, yeah, it feels more like a revisiting than a reboot. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. I know MC Amazing just jumped in here with us, and we're talking about those films, books, television shows that talk about that represent the thinning of the veil, as this time of year has us that the days and nights are supposed to be almost equal in length. So between death and life, that there's a thinning of the veil that they reach through, and we reach through, and be able to touch on what's going on between everyone, and how Ouija boards, of course, are used to kind of thin the veil. or to cross over and communicate across the veil. And Sonia was just telling us about how the Winona Earp show was about her, I guess, to some extent, being able to have conjured the demons that have crossed over, and now having to deal with the cleanup of having they sent the wrong person, had the demon come get the wrong person.
Yeah, the demon came and took the wrong person.
Oh wow.
So
Yeah.
the ladies had 20 years to plan her revenge for being taken.
Oh wow.
That's a
And
long time.
Gary is in the chat saying Coco is on Disney Plus. So Mexican take of a young boy through the magic goes to the land of the dead to discover the mystery of why the family banned music. So I mean, I saw this a few years back, and it's kind of interesting, a Disney movie dealing specifically with so much death and making the animation of characters who are dead. I thought that was very interesting.
Well, Penelope, one of my movies, and you've seen this often, and I plan on watching it again, so get ready for it. Is Horror Hotel.
Yeah.
And which all gear up to have a celebration of sorts on the Witches' Sabbath, which is on November 1st.
And yeah, that thing was very interesting because who is it that's in it that plays the big bad guy?
Christopher Lee, the Nazi hunter. The former Nazi hunter,
former Nazi hunter. Christopher Lee is in the one of the main roles, and not necessarily, was a good guy either.
So it's Horror Hotel. And it's on YouTube and it's free, and it's really good. I liked it as a kid. I like it now. Penelope may be tired of it, but she's gonna see it again. She's gonna see it again because I'm gonna watch it.
Okay, see it again. Yeah, we see that many times, many times. But doesn't have another name. It's Horror Hotel, but then there's another name.
City of the Dead. City of the Dead.
Yeah, City of the Dead. So that's the same film. So
okay,
same film.
You may have seen it already, but boy, I mean that is kind of a it's what, to me, Horror Hotel is one of those films where you have the main characters and you're looking around, the stuff is going on around you or not going on around you, and it's kind of like, can't you kind of tell? It's like you're ignoring the very obvious things that you should be getting the heck up out of here, but you're ignoring the obvious. That's the kind of film that is.
Yeah, and for some reason, as soon as you put on your Victoria's Secret underwear, here comes some witches and stuff.
Yeah,
what the hell's going on? What's going on?
Your 1950s, Victoria's Secret level stuff. Here they come. So yeah, that's it. It is again.
I got my garter belt on. Not me, but the
not me.
Push up bra. And
all right,
this guy.
And then here come these witches.
All right, so I mean, see, let's have films like that. What did I do? Film a short story, a book, that deals with this there's the living, speaking, interacting with, communicating with the dead.
The first movie that comes to my mind when I think about something like that is Corpse Bride. If anybody's ever seen that movie before, where the main character is like supposed to be getting married, and I think he kind of gets cold feet, and then he has the ring and he goes out to like a remote area and he puts the ring on like a what he thinks is like a pretty much a gnarled branch, and starts saying his wedding vows. And it turns out he accidentally gets married to a dead lady who actually, to be honest, was a really nice person. Like, it wasn't like, oh, I got married to like some evil demon. Like I can't. The names all escape me at this point. I think the main character's name was Vincent, maybe, but like his corpse bride lady, she was actually like a really nice person in general, and it was just kind of like, oh wow, like I expected this to be some kind of thing. It was like, oh my gosh, but it's like, no, this person's it's just, she's dead. So,
Right.
he's supposed to get married to somebody else, and he actually gets taken to the land of the dead with her, and like he's kind of that he's like it's like the whole dead city, and they're all kind of so elated that he's there and that there's going to be a wedding and everything like that. And it was I kind of like that movie. The only issue I had with that movie really was it feels like the end comes to like a screeching halt. Like when like they get to the very end of the movie and like the villain who the villain is defeated, who's actually the guy who's if I remember correctly, tries to take the place of Vincent to marry his fiance, and because it turns out that he actually murdered the corpse bride in order to like get her money or something like that. So he's actually the reason she's dead, and so he gets taken care of close to the end of the movie, and then at the end of the movie, she's like basically like, okay, well, I'm out, and then she just like turns into like a bunch of like butterflies or something, and that's the end of the movie.
Wow. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's a good movie to watch. I think it's like
I don't think I've ever seen the end of it, so I'll put it on my list.
yeah.
And Gary also again is in the chat saying that The House of Dies of Fear, a 1984 film based on the Virginia Hamilton story. A black family moves to a home in rural Ohio and discovers it's haunted by an abolitionist. So I remember, I think my daughter was talking about this book about the House of Dies of Fear. Nikki, did you also say something about this film, The House of Dies of Fear?
No, I've never heard of that.
I know somebody else was talking about this, but I think maybe it was our daughter was talking about it. And then Gary also was mentioning Johnny Depp in Sleepy Hollow. But in Sleepy Hollow, I guess his communication with the Headless Horseman is the crossover and touching between the living and the dead. So yeah, that's a thing. I gotta tell you. Mm-hmm.
Oh, real quick. I think like so technically speaking, wouldn't Ghostbusters kind of fall?
Absolutely.
Into this
Absolutely.
topic?
Ghostbusters is like the ultimate crossing over between the living and the dead. I mean, in fact, the policing of the dead by the living, really takes it even a further step, not just communication, you taking physical custody of you and placing you, under arrest, and holding you in a holding cell.
Right.
So yeah. And I was mentioning earlier when we got started how Ghostbusters feature prominently in our Halloween activity where we sang soundtrack for
Oh
2 and of course everyone was wearing his Ghostbusters uniform, proton pack, etc. Kind of
yeah, that was fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was real fun. That was a lot of fun.
Yes, absolutely Ghostbusters. And how about any other things? Cranston, how about you? Any other of those thinning of the veil stories that you have read, seen on screen, television, film?
Yeah, every time you guys mention something, I should have been taking notes because I'd remember something else. But the one that I came up with the beginning, the first two are kind of in there and they're cheating. One is Shaun of the Dead. And that was where they made the subtle point that as he's going about his daily routine and the zombies have already started swarming around the city, but it was making the point that everybody in the first thing in the morning is so zombied out anyway, nobody notices at first. They just see these people shuffling around and you don't really know it. The second one was from An American Werewolf in London, where in addition to the friend coming back in a little worse for wear every time he appears, but then the victims of the werewolf also around chipping in on, about what should happen now that they know who has taken them out and everything. And that. And the one that's, of course, is that might be kind of a cheat because it happens all the time, but it's either the British version or the American spinoff of the series Ghost, where you have a living person who is in constant contact with the people that are condemned to live on the property that she and her husband live on now, except that she is the only person who can talk to them. So there's the kind of interplay that she's talking to the ghost and her husband is saying, "You're talking to them, right? Or is any of them in the room?" Or he'll say something about one of them and they're there. So she's trying to tell him, "No, don't say that. Don't say that." And he's constantly trying to figure out like what's going on or something like that. And the neat thing is that she doesn't always tell him exactly what the ghosts have said or what's going on in the situation. So
Which version do you like best? The British version or the American version?
that's the weird thing. I had seen an ad for the British version and didn't pay any attention to it, but I remembered it for some reason. When the American version came on, I saw it and I got kind of hooked on that. But I do kind of like the British version a little bit better because of the British sense of humor, and they tend to be a little more not in your face, but a little more direct, and it's not as quiet as sweet. Usually in the American version, something terrible will happen and they'll manage to weasel their way out of it. In the British version, it happens and they don't.
Yeah, and the ghosts are different too in the British version, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I believe we started watching the British version, early on, and then of course, as time goes on and your schedule eats you up, then we stopped watching. But it was funny the British version, and then saw some of the American version. I thought it was not quite as entertaining, I don't think, but still,
It was more comedic.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I think the other thing when you talk about this reminds me of, again, another British import, and that is Being Human. And the fact that they have the ghost of Annie.
I was thinking the same thing.
The American version, Annie in the British version, but it's more like that ghost television show where she is there all the time, but it takes time for her to get to the point where she is being able to communicate, and then if there are incidents that occur that put her in a position where she can no longer communicate, so which is very frightening, in a way, because it's like removing her personhood, her autonomy, that she is not able to communicate based on abuses. So yeah. So I mean, I really enjoyed the film. And it shows the American version much more. I mean, the American version much less than the British version. But again, they have that communication between Annie, who is the ghost, not just with the other paranormal people, but also with other human beings that they have at the beginning of the show. I guess the second show of the first season of the British version, because they changed almost everybody in the cast, going from the pilot to the actual first show of that first episode of that season. And she is saying that, the pizza guy came to deliver the food, and that he could see her and communicate with her. And that was, a big deal because she at first had not been able to have people see her and communicate with her. So yeah, Being Human, for every other reason in the world, the British version, one of the best shows I've ever watched.
And Penelope, Nikki gave some evil laugh. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, so what did
in the middle when you were speaking, it was like, what was that about?
Oh, I'm sorry, you all. I forgot to mute the mic. I'm watching Looney Tunes.
Oh, thank you. No, this is not related to ghosts. We had a great time the other morning watching Looney Tunes, and they were doing the Abracadabra, the Hocus Pocus with Bugs Bunny.
Yes.
And I mean, that brought back memories. What great stuff. And I mean, just a great time reminiscing, watching that particular episode.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, you all. That's what I was laughing at
That's the
something that
laugh,
was
huh?
happening.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, wow. This is
Okay, so we'll get back on to what we're talking about. Well, you
all right. So how about
and I'm going.
any ghost? I mean, of course, there's the film Ghost Story. About the uh, young woman who they thought they killed, and they had not killed her. She'd just been knocked out, but they put the car into the lake and drowned her. You know? And that ghost story, that film, where now all these men now, as they are old, are being visited by this ghost, having to account for this horrible thing that they had done. So that's one that I like. Also, we can't. I mean, this whole period, like you say, this nightmare before Christmas season. If we get into all the way to Christmas, we cannot forget about Dickens and the ghosts of Christmas, past, present, and future. The communication then with that realm during the season.
I
Well,
remember
there's
a
also
movie.
the Patrick. I was gonna
Go
say
ahead.
there's also the Patrick Swayze movie Ghost that he can't progress on until he solves his murder.
Right, and the Whoopi Goldberg characters, I can't remember, but she is the medium who does that communication, with him.
Who had been
I hate.
faking it all the time before, and now it's actually real.
Yes,
I
yes.
hated that. You know what? I hated that film. I hated Whoopi Goldberg in it. I hate that she won an Oscar for it. I'm happy that she won an Oscar for it.
but I,
But
but I could have won an Oscar, but it could have been for something else. I don't think the role.
Fisher should won an Oscar for Color Purple or something. I'm getting off
Right,
off
right,
topic.
right, right.
There's another movie, Danny Kaye is in it, called Wonder Man. Yeah, I don't know if anybody's seen
Oh
that.
yeah, I mean, you know what? The first time I saw that was with you this year. I mean, it's a couple of weeks ago. Actually, I'd never seen it before.
It's old as hell.
Yeah,
It's Danny Kaye, so it's all, it's Samuel Goldwyn, Danny Kaye. It's all, it looked like a box of crayons. It's,
yeah,
it's all really colorful.
very colorful.
But
And
Danny Kaye is a twin. He's a twin, and his twin brother is an entertainer, and he's going to turn state's evidence against a gangster, and so you can predict what happens to him. And so then he comes back, and he possesses the body. Actually, you know what? That's a possession movie too.
yeah,
But
possession.
he possesses the body of his brother, and he and he comes outside outside of his brother. He does a bunch of supernatural ghost things that only his brother can see.
Okay. All right,
Now,
this is
was it a case of them killing the right brother or the wrong brother, and that's what made it?
No, they killed the right one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was going to say something, and he didn't get to say something. So, but they didn't know he had a twin. So his brother, spoiler alert for a 1940 movie, but his brother possesses him and pretends to be who they killed, and so gives state evidence, and everything's good, and the Goldwyn girls are there, and Virginia Mayo and all that stuff. So
yeah. Right. Now in the chat again, Gary's saying it, the Tim Curry version, and then he has Spielberg's Poltergeist. Now, while we are discussing Spielberg's Poltergeist, maybe Gary can elucidate us as to why he thinks the Tim Curry version, is a ghost story as opposed to the original of it. Okay, all right, and so Spielberg's Poltergeist, I find that that is that is serious ghost story, right? That they're poltergeists and they're in the house and they built the house on top of the graves, and they are definitely communicating. Maybe not in a nice way, but they certainly are communicating. So yes, poltergeist, definitely a thinning of the veil ghost story.
Now,
And how they've influenced a whole spate of reality shows where people are now going out looking for the ghosts and trying to get them to communicate with them on purpose and for whatever ratings gold they can get.
Well, just think about it. Think about it, Sonia. If you were a ghost, would you be willing to communicate with people?
That's actually I did write that I was part of a performance troupe, kind of like Saturday Night Live, but a little bit more political. And I did write a skit based on that where the ghost hunters and they were obviously faking it, but the cameraman was actually talking to the real ghost, the non-professional, and he said, "We just want you out of our home." And the cameraman said, "I can't do anything. You've got to get, I'm just a cameraman. I'm just a hired hand here, basically."
Yeah.
It's like, so the name is Elizabeth. And they're like, "Oh, big choice for a name here in England,
Mm.
and stuff like that." And the ghost is like, "Well, actually, her name was Betsy, but she wasn't named after either queen or whatever, things like that." And so the cameraman's trying to help the ghost get the ghost hunters out of the house.
Mm.
So we say that you're talking about that the poltergeist spawning all these different types of television shows. I thought about also Medium. As like for ghosts, the concept of now we had a couple of those shows. One of them was Medium, and what was the other one? With Jennifer
What's the one with what's the name?
Ghost Whisperer.
Ghost Whisperer, yeah. What are you saying, Otto?
The guy from the unit. It was on. What was that? What's the name of that show?
The guy from the unit. What is
Snake
that?
Doc.
But is that really a ghost?
Is that a ghost?
I mean, they didn't kill him. They almost killed him, and then used his self to put into this.
What's the name of that show?
Thing. Oh man, I knew what it was. Now and Again.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And Now and Again. I really
Was that a ghost? Was that a ghost? No.
It's not really a ghost because he wasn't dead. They told them that he was dead, but what they did is used him to create this android, or I don't know, it was an android, a bionic man. So he could he's their state secret, their weapon or whatever. I don't know what they want to do.
Right.
What
really
is
love that show.
the best show but the worst title?
Oh yeah, that show. Nobody could possibly know that was a science fiction, speculative fiction show at all.
There's no way you could know that was a science fiction show.
No,
It looks like something like the way that they have the opening looks like basically like a soap opera,
Yeah.
or something. Like it's like, oh, I'm not gonna watch this soap opera. It's like, wait, no, come back. It's actually a cool show. No, don't turn away.
Well, it was probably one of those misguided choices where they said if we do this as science fiction, people won't watch it. But if we don't say that's what it is, then they'll watch it and then they'll get hooked. But it loses the audience that would have watched it if you had been honest with them up front.
Right. It was such a good show.
Yeah. How many shows have you been tricked into watching? I mean, does that work?
I don't think I don't think I've ever been tricked into, but I say that, but I haven't thought through that question very well. What shows have I been tricked into watching? And I cannot think of any.
Yeah, present itself as one thing, and then
there's
you start
something
watching.
else.
I got you now, viewer.
Yeah.
And now you're gonna
I don't
continue
know.
watching.
I mean, is there anything that you all have ever watched that's been like that, especially science fiction, like that we took Now and Again? I have no idea how we even started watching it. Maybe because did it come on after like Judging Amy or something?
No, Snake. We saw Snake Doc on it, and we said, "Let's give it a shot."
Yeah, maybe.
It was after it got canceled, though. It was over.
Yeah,
It got canceled.
Yeah, it had to be. Okay, now Gary's saying that I used to work for the Florida Lottery. Odd things occur at night. Elevators would open. I swear I saw a reflection of an old lady looking over my shoulder. I later found out the building was built. I'm waiting for that. The big reveal.
There's a character limitation, Gary. Finish.
Yeah, get into it. It's
He
next door.
probably typed the whole thing and it cut it off.
Yeah. Well, we'll wait for that answer.
If I remember right, the building was built on a cemetery. It was a property that had been owned by one family for the
Mhm,
longest time, and then they started leasing out sections of the property. And I
mhm.
think it was built on part of the family cemetery, if I'm remembering correctly. But Gary's gonna have to go and verify that for
How do
me
you
because
know
I
the
can't.
story though?
Because I used to live not far from it.
Okay.
I actually wanted
So,
that house. It was one house
mhm,
in this whole big city block surrounded by trees, and then slowly they would cut down the trees and they rented out and built office buildings. There's now the house is completely gone. It's now a shopping plaza complete with hotel and restaurants and all that. But for the longest time it was one house in the middle of the city, just nothing but trees around it.
oh.
Why didn't you
So
buy
Yep.
the
it?
His addition was over a family burial ground. So the
Yeah.
building over a
You
family
should have
burial.
bought it.
Yeah, yeah.
so wait a
Yeah.
minute. They built commercial property over a haunted house.
Oh, they've done worse than that in Tallahassee. There was a, a mental institute. Well, first it was a hospital, then it became a mental institution, and they knocked it down. And there's some ladies that worked nearby, and they swore when the wrecking ball hit the building, they heard the building scream out, "No!"
Too late now, building.
Yep, because it was condemned because there was asbestos there, and a lot of haunted shows, tours, and all that happened there. And they built apartment complexes and over that site, and for the longest time, people would see apparitions and things like that in their apartments
They didn't see nothing.
because
They're just trying to
nobody.
get a rent. They're trying to get a rent reduction.
Rent
Damn.
reduction.
But
Well,
yeah, it was Tallahassee's full. They just knocked down another old house to build security system for the governor's mansion, and we were like, wait, the
Yeah,
man's behind.
DeSantis gonna live there?
DeSantis hardly ever there, but they said it was concern. So I'm like, this is the man who lives behind a long ass driveway that has a cement uh, a border, a moat for all practical purposes around it. How the hell they did? Because they built all that when one time somebody ran a car through the governor's mansion and crashed into the
Oh,
front window.
geez.
But they
Everybody in
built up
Florida.
all of these securities, and then now they're knocking down very historical houses that are in the surrounding area.
What a shame.
Everybody in Florida probably living on top of slaves anyway.
This
They
is
just got
true.
confronted. Yeah.
And
They just,
swamp grounds, because that's why the Seminoles came down here, because it was all swamp. Came down there, I should say, since I'm no longer there.
Yeah.
what about the
In fact,
Frightener?
I think I was gonna say even my office building I used to work with, we're all pretty convinced because there's a lot of uh, Native American burial grounds, and they've only been able to preserve two of them, and I'm pretty sure that the building that our office was built on was on one of them, because there was a lot of unsettling things that would happen too, and it wasn't just because it was the business was run poorly, but
Well, Jerry is adding to his conversation by saying grotesquerie on effects and its twists
I
and
can't.
turns.
I can't
Produced
deal
by
with that
Ryan
show
Murphy,
though.
produced American Horror Story. But you know what? I know we probably watched an episode. How is it
Yep.
I don't remember it
Two
at all?
episodes. It's
I have no
I got
memory
two
of what it
words.
was.
I hate to criticize like that, but I got two words for that show.
Uh-huh.
I can't. No,
This guy.
that show is just for no reason. I mean, Ryan Murphy.
I
You
can't
know,
even
if he
remember. I can't even remember what the things were about. Oh my goodness.
that sounds like an Amber
Amber
Alert.
Amber Alert for somebody's phone.
Yeah, my phone, unfortunately.
But that show is grotesque. It's grotesque for real, and it's just the body horror and
Okay, now which one? Which show is this? Because I have.
That's the show that the guy recreated the 12 disciples, the Last Supper. Remember that in the church?
Oh, that thing. Yeah, that is pretty bad. I mean, it's just yeah. Again, grotesquerie. It's just what is her name? Or what is the woman? The actress's name? I think there's only one scene that was any good, and that was the scene that had the husband and the wife in it. Niecy Nash is the wife, and the husband is what is her name? What is his name? Corey. Not Corey. What is his name? But he was really good. Quite excellent in the role as the husband.
Except he's in a coma for most of the show.
Yeah. So yeah, but he's not. So it's not ghosts because they're not communicating within this. Like just remembering the conversations that they have had. But I don't know what these other individuals are, which is in touch with whether or not this. Is anybody watching the show? Francesca?
Gary is.
He's just mentioning it. You know, said we can see it's the turns. Cranston, Sonia, nobody else watching it.
I saw somewhere where I think they said they're going to cancel it.
Thank God.
I can see why. I don't think it's very good. I mean,
well, a lot of the things Ryan Murphy's produces for FX is just one season, and then they or anthology type. Courtney Vance is the one he's saying you're trying to remember.
Thank you. My brain blocked.
He's in a coma for most of the. He's in a coma for most of the.
He was in. He's quite excellent. Niecy Nash is not bad in this.
How about the daughter?
The daughter. And I think I don't know, but
don't give it away. Don't you say it.
Try that. Try the grotesquerie thing. If you are like into the twists and turns. And then Gary was saying it's 10 episodes. I like it. All right. Well, let's just try that. I mean, and another thing that you can deal with is if you like this one online, some of the Netflix Asian imports that deal with ghosts are, very, very good. There was one, what is it saying? The Ghost Bride, where this young woman, they didn't have money in their family, and in order to bail her family out of debt, she has to marry this ghost. This young man died, young, unmarried. So basically, you are the virgin bride to someone who's already dead. And it was, parts of it were good, parts of it not as good, but it's but I overall very interesting. And I saw another show. I can't remember which one it was, and that was a K drama as a series where another individual had the same thing happen to them. That they were married to a person who died, or they're trying to get someone to marry their dead son because he died without issue. He's going to be alone in the afterworld. So they needed him to, need a wife for him to get married. And so that thing there, the communication, and in some instances, the individual, you're married to this person who was dead, but you never communicate with them because they're a dead person. But others happen to be able to, again, cross the veil and be able to actually communicate with this dead spouse. On one of them, the ghost bride, the person that she was required to marry was actually kind of a jerk and very terrible person. So they were to, if you're into that, those are good to watch. But just there's a search term with the ghost stories, and some of them are very interesting, very compelling, especially because culturally you see this and you don't know what to expect. So I would say try some of those.
What about the Frighteners?
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I like that film.
Is that the only supernatural movie Michael J. Fox is in?
Only supernatural movie. Only thing I can really think of that he's done that's supernatural. I mean,
Yeah,
you think, well, this what is it? Back to the Future sci-fi.
yeah.
Yeah, but
So
Frighteners is, at the beginning of the
it's
movie, you don't know
horror.
what
It's
to
super
think.
it's
You don't know
horror.
what to think. This guy's a con artist, right?
Yeah, it's super. The others with Nicole Kidman, Gary was saying, and
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, Gary, you said there's discussion on a second season, and you're saying that with regard to grotesquerie, that they are discussing a second season.
They are.
I'm asking, said there's discussing a second season. I think he is talking about grotesquerie, but since I
I
have not seen all of it, I don't know whether it turned the corner.
That makes me sad.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I haven't finished it. I don't know if it is holding my attention enough, but I do think Courtney Vance was wearing it out. I mean, wearing it out. What a great performance. The others at Nicole Kidman, definitely, ghost story, but it's a very interesting, ghost story. And that, I think if you're doing like the opposite thing, like this, we're actually following not the people, but we don't realize that we're following the ghost. So it's
What about the first most of the seasons for Dexter when he talks to his father?
Oh no, that doesn't count
Why not?
because is he a
because it's
ghost?
not real.
He's a
He's not a
ghost.
ghost.
No,
There's
he's
no
not a
ghost.
ghost.
He's just in his head.
He's just in his head.
How you know he's not a ghost? He could be a ghost.
No, he's in his head, man.
Yeah, I don't
It,
believe it's a ghost.
he's not a ghost. It's like because it really kind of drives it home is when after the Trinity killer kills his well, spoiler for those of you who haven't seen the show, when the Trinity killer John Lithgow kills his wife Rita, and then he kind of just disappears for a while. It's like not necessarily like, oh, I went away because like our psychic link was disrupted. It's like I went away because you had a mental block basically about
Right,
grieving for your wife.
right. So
You
yeah,
know,
I think I agree with you on that, and I know I agree with you on that. I don't think that's a ghost. I think that he's just in his head.
I think it would have been cool if he was a ghost, but that just wasn't a thing.
Yeah, yeah.
It's one thing also that kind of like I would have liked to have been a more supernatural show was River. You know,
Well, River was I didn't even know what to do with that.
yeah,
I
and
mean, so what was it? It's New Year's, wasn't it? About several years ago,
hmm
we watched that.
Remember the big surprise in the beginning?
Oh yeah,
oh yeah,
oh yeah. And I mean, still that was all over the place with that and figuring out what is
He
this.
said, "Oh, first you watch the show. You said, oh boy, another British procedural."
Yeah, and boy, you get the shock of your life with that thing.
and the thing about it is that like when he's like questioning that one lady, and he can tell that the lights are bothering her, and they're kind of like, well, like the other policemen are kind of like, well, I don't understand what's her deal. It's like, well, how's anybody supposed to think the way the sound that those lights make in there? And I'm just like, yeah, man, like you kind of have to take that in consideration. But either it's neither here nor there, man. But the thing about it is like I would have liked that to be a ghost thing, but it just wasn't. It was a similar thing to like the whole thing with like Dexter and his dad, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Because I mean, I didn't know what to do with that. I didn't know what I was watching. Maybe
Yeah.
that's one of those things where you're saying, I don't know what I was watching.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that was
it's
one
a series, and it never came back. It's the Skarsgård father, right?
Yeah.
Skarsgård. Yeah.
yeah, and I thought, well, I just don't think that what more was there to say.
Yeah, I don't think there was
It's,
any more, well, much
it's
more to
not
do.
like Happy Valley, when there's more to say. In this thing, what more was there to say? Not much. And that's another thing to think about. A lot of it's like how many of these British type shows that are more not comedy, but they deal with ghosts. And of course, we said being human. Are there any other things like that deal with this?
They're just better. I think they're doing better. I mean, you have Dead of Night.
I don't know what Dead of Night is. That film is something else. Jared was saying The Crow. I mean, the crow.
Oh
I guess
yeah, the
it's a
crow.
ghost story. That is a ghost story. So yeah,
Or
I
is
You
it
know,
a zombie story?
no, it's definitely a ghost story.
is it a ghost? Or I mean, it's a wraith,
I mean,
correct?
the guy actually gets out of the grave, and
Yeah,
he's
he's a
he's
wraith.
he's a body. I mean, he's a solid
Yeah,
body. He's not
he
going
does
through
have a
walls.
physical
Yeah.
presence. Yeah. So I guess again, a wraith, correct? And he is
Yeah, that was a cool movie.
communicating, and he is, doing things.
Everybody sees him.
And by the way, I know that the new Crow film got really,
Yeah.
so bad reviews. I say 100% unearned.
Oh,
I
really?
agree. I agree.
100% unearned.
I agree with that. Yeah.
That was
It
unearned.
got
I
a
mean,
bad rap.
it got a bad rap, but again, a lot of times you have to be very careful when there is, and I found when the female lead is a black woman, they savage
Oh.
anything with a romance with a black female in the romantic lead.
Oh.
And
I
I
see.
think that's the reason that they savage is because they just said, the chemistry was just absolutely false.
There was nothing wrong with the
Chemistry
chemistry.
was lovely between them. There was nothing at all wrong with that. It's just a bunch of I think of racism. I think because it really was. I liked it so much better than the original.
Wow, really?
So much better. It is so in my mind.
Oh wow, okay, I'm
So
gonna have
much
to check it
better.
out.
Okay, now
So
so you didn't think that I did the biggest negative that I saw in most of the reviews, other than they said that the characters had no chemistry, was they said that it was too violent.
okay. Well,
Did they watch the first
yeah,
movie?
yeah. There's
Like, did they watch the first movie, like the first one?
the first
Because
movie is
that one
also
was pretty
very violent.
violent.
The level of violence in this one was a little high, but again, this guy is a wraith. What
Hmm.
do you think is going to happen when a wraith crosses with human beings who think they can kill everything? You
Okay.
know, I mean, what do you think is going to happen when they discover that they cannot kill him, but yet he can kill them? And these are trained killers who are
Hmm.
savage. And so, yeah, he gives tit for tat in this thing.
Oh
It is
wow.
very violent. But I
Okay.
mean, violent, but I got to tell you, what is that? What was the ballet opera that was going on in that scene? One scene, it's an opera ballet going on at the same time that he's trying to get into this building where there's this opera ballet being performed, and so the music to this ballet opera going on while he is going through these fight scenes as they're escalating in their bloodthirstiness. It was really
I
quite,
think it's worth watching. That's it.
yeah,
Yeah. It don't believe don't
yeah,
believe all the bad reviews.
Hmm.
yeah. It's not true at all. I mean, I thought it
Hmm.
was. I liked it so much better than the original.
Well, do you think the bad reviews came from people other than the thing is that whenever you have a black person and unfortunately, especially black females or something, that it automatically is going to get downgraded, or do you think it's the fact that people were just so in love with the mythology behind the first movie that they
Yeah,
decided that well, we're going to
agreed.
trash this one just because
Yes,
it's not the
yeah, I
first.
agree. And I think you are accurate on both counts. I think that a lot of people were. I don't care if you have made the perfect film, The Crow, in the second version,
Mhm.
this reboot that they did. If it had been absolutely perfect in every way, they still would have hated it. They hate watched it.
Mhm.
They were planning to hate it before they ever saw one scene. Um, it, but I found that it was the first one. In all honesty, if you really think about it, is much more violent.
There's a lot of violence in the first one.
Yeah, this is
Really, a lot of
this
violence. A
thing
lot of
here.
drug use. A lot of
Yes,
violence.
yeah. I think this one, and they, removed this thing. We have this little girl involved, and her mama involved, and all that stuff. All that, all that extraneous garbage that I did not like from the first film at all. Skarsgård, young man Bill Skarsgård in the role as the Crow is just lovely. I mean, he's not, I think that the first version that is kind of like a cardboard cutout. In that role. In fact, I never liked the acting. I mean, I
But
believe
they have some great actors. Now, you may not like the lead, but the
right,
other supporting actors
right,
were very good in the first one.
right. But I mean, Ernie
Jason
Hudson
Lee.
was in it.
Jason Lee may not be your cup of tea.
Brandon Lee was not.
I mean, Brandon Lee. Excuse me.
Not good in that film. I mean, he had the benefit of being, Bruce's son, and everybody wanted it to be good, but he was just a little over mediocre in that role. But I believe that Skarsgård in this role, and the love story, almost a Orpheus and Eurydice type story. I thought it was just a wonderful tale of people who are broken and who are sad and who are put upon and treated badly, and find each other with this such a sweet love story. And this sweet love story in this wrapped around, of course, judgmental issues as well. How do you, and in Orpheus and Eurydice, it's, Orpheus looks back and, that's how he loses Eurydice. And this is something else that causes this, the loss. And I think that, it speaks a lot to how it is we are, as individuals, how the girl's mother, what she did to get her daughter involved in this thing that is the center, the horror, it's the center of what happens in this film.
You gonna give the whole film away?
I'm not. I'm speaking very general terms. So to say, if you have not seen it, don't listen to other people. It is very violent, but of course, it's almost cartoonish in the violence because you have trained killers trying to kill someone who's unkillable.
Okay.
So you're going to see it's just kind of really got a rough. So, but I liked it. I truly liked it so much more than the original film. I really did. And I think
except for that one joke, right?
What?
Jesus Christ came to the innkeeper, gave him 4 nails.
Yeah, okay. Can you put me up for the night?
Can you put me up for the night?
These are indeed, a ghost story. Very good, I think, ghost story. But I think, it is a romance as well. A lot of people have issues with romance when it's especially involved with horror. So I think that may be the reason why people cannot reconcile that it's a romance as well as a horror. But also, I think it's because this horror ingenue, they always see this. I think many people will see a white female in that role, as this person that the main character is devoted to, and think that that's okay, and what they think is normal, and not see that when this character, when this woman he is completely devoted to is a black.
Let me ask you this: How do people get shot and killed on movie sets? And that makes as much sense as someone getting accidentally stabbed.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you shouldn't have,
How's that
wide
happen?
ammunition. But in The Crow, the problem was, and this happened not just with Brandon Lee, but there's another young man that the same thing happened to. It was before um, Brandon Lee. That they have what do you call it? Not it's not a live round, but it's
Blank.
blanks. That blanks will kill you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like the Alec Baldwin case.
Yeah, the
But
whole thing
that
with the
was not a
West thing.
blank. That, I mean, I understand what that was about.
How
Yeah,
the
Live
that
hell do
was.
people get
rounds.
killed on sets
Yeah,
Yeah,
with
it's not a
phony?
been live rounds at all.
it's like at this point, it's kind of like, why are you guys have any kind of rounds in the gun at this point anyway? Like, I mean, you would think with the advances we've made and like, and and the special effects that you could actually just simulate that kind of stuff without having
Exactly.
to have anything in the gun. Like it
Yes.
just, but even if you're going to do that, you're supposed to have people who are on set who are supposed to be responsible for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And
Well, in the Rust case, the person who was acting as an armor was not trained to do that.
Mm,
It was
that's a
somebody who
problem.
could do it, but it wasn't their job. They didn't do all the safety checks. And
But the
also,
yeah,
you don't
but
point a
but
gun at
there should not have
somebody.
been live rounds in anything. They should not
Mhm.
have guns that were actual real guns. They should not be
You never hear
yeah,
anybody getting accident.
props, right?
You never hear anybody getting accidentally stabbed, right? Like, oh my
No,
God,
because
Janet Leigh got accidentally
that's right. Because
stabbed
you
on the
don't
set of
have real
Psycho or something.
knives. There should not be real knives on the set. And Gary was saying that there was a series on Sci-Fi, Superstition, where the Hastings family owns a funeral home. They not only plan funerals but provide afterlife care for
well,
the
that's cool.
unexpected deaths caused by demonic entities. I've never even heard of that.
That costs
Is it any
extra.
good? Has anyone
That
else watched it?
that costs extra to do that
It's cost extra.
for afterlife care.
Yeah, they probably charge for that. Yes, yes. But I would think. Has anyone ever seen the show? I mean, Gary, you indicated that exists. Did you ever watch it? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Is it still on, or I mean, I guess it's not. But you said
Is it
there
good?
was a series on Sci-Fi.
Is it good?
I don't know. Has anybody else seen it?
Has Gary seen it?
Winston, have you ever heard of it?
Mhm.
Nikki or Evan? No.
Nikki's never heard of anything
Mm-mm.
except Bugs Bunny.
Oh.
Okay. Okay, but I've
But
never heard of that before.
does Gary's seen it, but he hasn't said whether he liked it or not.
Yeah, he hasn't said whether he liked it when he saw it. But I mean, there are, right now, if you're going through, you have Netflix, you have Viki if you want to look at, K dramas, C dramas, J dramas, and things like that. That there are several ghost stories with Thai ghost stories that we have seen. There was one just recently that I posted about. It was an anthology of different related ghost tales. Remember that one, Otto, that we were watching?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That was really got
Exhume.
Exuma also we watched, and which is a ghost.
What about the Ring? Is the Ring a ghost?
Yes, the Ring is a ghost story because she is
Oh
definitely
yeah,
a ghost. She's doing all sorts of bad stuff. And again, the Ring, that ghost is a wraith, correct? Because she's
No.
actually,
Is her
she's
body?
physical damage, in
Is it really her body? Is it her
world,
body?
not her body, but she is causing physical things to happen. I don't know. Is
I
she
don't
wraith?
know.
Is she just a
I don't
ghost?
think she is a wraith. I don't think so.
Just a very scary thing, though, going around doing stuff. Because she caused, like with the little boy, remember, you can see the fingerprints on his body from when she's hitting him. And she is hitting him towards him, just bruised him.
But it's more spiritual than
I don't know if I think somebody does, physical damage to you, and they look like, hands, fingers, punching, they come into physical contact somehow. I don't know. Gary was saying with regard to Superstition, it was a promising series, but it was canceled. So, how many seasons? Only one season? 2 seasons? Is it something we should be looking for to while the time away?
What's it called again?
Superstition. It was on Sci-Fi. Right? And
The problem is sci-fi shows. The same thing with shows that used to generate from USA or TNT. They start off really good, right?
And then
it kind of peter out.
It's like they didn't know they were going to survive, so they didn't write enough episodes and didn't have them, interlaced well because they didn't think they would survive that long. So I think
all of the shows except for Psych.
Because Psych is not, that was a great show. Stayed on for quite a while, and they had that. What was the other one that was about people who had hyper capability to observe, hyper observational skills? The one that was on CBS?
The Mentalist?
Yes, that one, The Mentalist. So
that wasn't a ghost, though.
But I mean, excuse me, not go, but neither was Psych. I'm just saying that during that period,
I'm saying shows on those platforms like USA, Sci-Fi, TNT. They start off really exciting and interesting, and then peter out.
Yeah, because they just didn't know they had to write that many shows. They were prepared for failure, not success.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I mean, a lot of the shows, unfortunately, like this, it's a Superstition. It's a Superstition starred Mario Van Peebles. So
did it?
Yeah, I have never even heard of it.
Me either.
If I did, just kind of, this is one season, and it's on YouTube. So if you want to catch this Superstition on YouTube, I've not heard of it.
Oh.
So, is there any other show that anybody else wants to tout as being a Thinning of the Veil show?
Okay, there are some things that you are aware of, but you just decide you're not going to watch them, although you know just about everything about them. So there are 3. There was one from way back in the 50s, I guess. That was The Ghost and Mrs. Muir.
Oh, I remember that show. I was
the film,
Ghost and Mrs.
the film and the show.
Yeah.
And then there are 2 films. One is, of course, The Ghost and Mr. Chicken.
But they're not really real ghosts.
There was no real ghost there. That one.
Yeah. And the other is one with, and you might not want to watch it for several reasons nowadays, but that one is Ghost Dad.
No way. Come on, man. Cranston trying to scam us, man. Nah.
Just saying.
No. I thought you were going to say this. I thought you were going to say The Sixth Sense or something like that.
That's funny. Oh,
but you know what? The
man.
Sixth Sense, I said it's another ghost story. Forget all about it.
Oh, my
The
God.
Sixth Sense. And also, The Sixth Sense takes place, in Philadelphia. And
Ghost
it is during that season where, the boys are going to see the fall season. So, yeah, that is definitely a good.
I thought Cranston was going to say The Sixth Sense. He came up with Ghost Dad.
Oh, my goodness. That was funny.
Yeah, well, there you go. It is a ghost story. This is true. It is a ghost story.
It is a ghost story, but it's just funny because it's just like Ghost Dad.
Yeah.
Like, what a pick.
Okay. How about you, Sonia? Any other ghost-related films, television shows, books, even?
The Haunting.
Mm-hmm. What about the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo?
Thank you, but again,
what about 13 Ghosts? What about the movie 13?
Those are all ghosts. Those are all real ghosts.
Yeah, but they aren't really ghosts in Scooby-Doo, right?
No, they are. No, they are. In the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo, those are all real ghosts. Like all the ghosts that they go after.
Who are they?
Huh?
Who are they?
I don't know, but they were released or something like that into the world, and like Vincent Price is kind of like they're kind of like their handler, and it's like Scooby.
Wow, you know what? I had no idea.
Yeah.
Okay. 13
Vincent
Ghosts.
Price actually plays like the voice of the Vincent Price character. I think he until like maybe the last few episodes, I think somebody else plays the voice, but I think
Wow.
initially it's him.
Well, there you go, y'all. 13 Ghosts, Scooby Doo. You know,
And
Yo, they,
the
do they
movie.
communicate? Well, do they communicate with the ghosts, or just chase them down and?
I mean, they communicate with some ghosts and then chase the other ghosts down.
Okay. Oh, well, remember this? I mean, for all of you all who are a certain age, I'm sure you remember this one. Goober and the Ghost Chasers.
No,
Remember
nobody
that
remembers
horror?
No.
Mm.
No one remembers.
I know. Everybody remember the Funky Phantom though.
Yeah, I was about to
Oh,
say
yeah.
Funky Phantom.
The Funky Phantom. Oh my God, I remember that.
What made him so
Spirit of
funky though?
76.
What made him so
Remember that?
funky? Why was he funky?
His vibe, man.
What?
His vibe. He was a funky phantom, as in he had a funky vibe.
No, he didn't.
Yeah,
he
There's
did.
nothing funky. There's nothing funky about him.
I cannot believe that nobody remembers Goober and the Ghost Chasers.
No, nobody
Nobody.
remember that. No.
Yeah,
It's like this ugly dog. And this is Paul Winchell. It's from like 1973.
Oh yeah, I'm way.
Nobody
No.
remembers Goober
No.
and the Ghost. Come on.
No, I remember
I thought you were gonna say MacGruber.
MacGruber.
Okay. Yeah. Goober and the Ghost Chasers. It's really bad.
Maybe it should be MacGruber and the Ghost Chasers. Maybe we better
Yeah,
that
it
way.
is really, really bad.
There's a movie that,
Goober and the
you
Ghost
know,
Chasers. That's it.
Evan
See right
mentioned
here.
13 Scooby Doo and the 13 Ghosts, but there's a movie called 13 Ghosts.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes. A horror movie. Yeah, but I mean, that thing there, like again, it's a Funky Phantom. Yeah, that was a. I have no idea what was going on in that show. Does anybody know what's going on in the Funky Phantom?
I don't know. I couldn't watch it.
It came out during the year of the bicentennial.
Yes, 1976.
And
376.
the guy he wore a 3-corner hat and he was like it was garbage and it made me go outside. That's the thing.
There you go. I'm out. I can't remember what.
Bro, I'm out, man.
Yeah, it made me go to my mother, ask her, is there any chores she wanted me to do?
Anything I can possibly do for you?
Anything.
Household chores, perhaps.
Paint the
Anything but
house.
watch this stupid show.
Yeah, paint the house, exactly. Anything.
Oh my God.
Laundry, perhaps. Hanging up the clothes. I can do that for you.
Yeah.
Anything, please, for the love of
You want
God.
me babysit my siblings while you go out and do things.
Yeah, I can do that.
Anything but this.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that was, and I got to tell you, from the moment now, I can't even remember what they were doing. What these
Destroying
kids
my
were doing.
Saturday. That was what they were doing.
Yeah, I mean, the kids,
They were destroying my
TV.
Saturday morning.
Mm.
So, I mean, Evan, any other ghost-related shows, things that you can recall, that the thinning of the veil, communication with the dead?
I don't know. Like you guys already mentioned Casper, right? Like I mean that would be like.
No, we didn't miss Casper.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, both movies, Casper, because remember there was like another movie, like the prequel, the Casper prequel movie where he first comes to I guess Whipstaff and meets up with his uncles and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say like definitely the first movie we have like Bill Pullman and everything, and he goes there. He's actually going there for the express purpose of communicating with ghosts, and I mean he definitely does it. Like it definitely happens, you know.
Yeah.
And-
Okay.
Yeah, I feel for Casper, but the thing is, can't you take a hint? Nobody wants to be your friend. It's like
Dang.
stop trying to force yourself on other people.
So, yo, wow, what a hater.
Well,
Yeah,
I-
just stop. I don't want to
Also,
be.
you think about it, that when they do the actual movie and they say how this child is out, he's playing in the snow with his new sled and he gets sick. And this is a child this thing happens to.
Yeah.
It's very sad.
It's
Yeah.
sad. Stop trying to be people's friends.
What?
Some
Some of those people actually need friends. Like Bill
That's
Pullman's
right.
character needed a friend.
Yeah.
Who was that character? Who played his daughter in that? I can't remember. But she needed a friend as well. and whether they want to admit it or not, all three of those ghosts in there, Stretch, Stinky, Fatso, they all needed a friend. They needed Casper.
Every
So,
episode of Casper that I saw when I was a kid on television always started out with, "Oh, Casper, you're my friend, and we can be friends." Where you ghost? Holy cow! Get out of here!
you know what? That's that's a thing. It's like, somebody realizes. Like, I kind of feel like that's like low key kind of racist. You
Yep.
know, it's like, oh yeah,
He's
Casper,
white. Casper
Uh-huh.
white.
Casper.
Very
Oh, we could be
light-skinned,
friends. What? You're a ghost?
I thought you were light skinned.
Yeah.
That's why I thought you was light skinned.
You're a ghost. Ah.
Well, it's kind of like Matt Groening's point about, he said, if you think about the ghost, it's the Casper, the ghost of a little dead kid. So isn't that kind of creepy right there?
It is. It's sad and creepy.
Sad,
It's sad and creepy. It is
Yeah,
sad and
especially-
creepy.
And they
Yeah.
put that
Who makes a cartoon out of that?
Yeah, you're just thinking. Oh, yeah. I don't think they thought that deep about it either. Yeah, they didn't think about it too much, and they were just like, "Hey, this will be fun, huh? It'll be a ghost, but it'll be a little kid that's friendly to everybody." Yeah, but
what year was that? Because I want to tell you, I think about
40s
how,
or 50s or something.
yeah, how those of us who grew up in eras where things generally did not happen to children, where concepts of child death, like for us, are like obscene. The concept of something happening to a child death. We are like up in arms when a child is missing, a child died. But for like 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 years ago, things happening to children that children died was not uncommon. It was not something that people, oh my gosh, I can't believe that child died. They said, wow, I can't believe that child lived.
And the thing is, you got Casper who died, but the other three ghosts, the ghostly trio, apparently are his uncles. So what the hell? What's that
the whole
story?
family.
What's the story behind that?
Well, in the prequel movie though, like it tells you that they're actually not related.
Oh, they're not related?
They're not related. That's the way that they did it in the what's called the prequel movie. He shows up later, but they're all together as like the ghostly trio before he shows up. And then
What the hell happened to them?
I don't know.
Well, this is the question. If you got three adult ghosts hanging around with a kid ghost, does that make them pedophile ghosts?
No.
What?
It makes them abusive.
Oh, why you gotta go south? No.
It makes them abusive because that's what they were.
They're not abusive to them.
They were just abusive.
Well, yeah, they are definitely abusive to him.
How they abusive to him?
Did you watch the first movie?
I don't remember.
Did you ever watch any of the cartoons?
Hold on. Before y'all start jumping on me like that, I watched the cartoon episodes.
Yeah, the cartoons are really mean to him.
How they mean to him, Penelope?
They were always mean to him.
What they do?
You don't remember that?
Wait, so stop trying to be people friends?
No, like they're like.
No, I mean that too, because they were not very positive about him trying to be friends.
No, they would scare people. They would scare people off.
Yeah, they wanted to scare people, and he wanted to be friends with people. So no, they did not like that. But they were abusive to him because he was, trying to be friendly, and they didn't like it.
He was trying to be nice and all that kind of stuff.
Right. They were abusive.
Yeah, they were kind of abusive.
Very abusive.
And especially in the movie.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, I remember Casper a lot. But again, you think, wow, that again, the concept of child mortality was so much more acceptable. 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 years ago.
A lot of people died like people just dropped dead. And...
we had a lot of illness. People worked,
there's a lot of illness and people just died.
Worked in industries where they have OSHA, occupational safety and health.
There's a lot of death,
So yeah,
a lot of amputees, and there's a lot of
people with shut-ins and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's so amazing thing that you think about. You think of Casper, that the concept of a child, who died was not something to them. 50, 60 years ago, 70 years ago, they weren't thinking anything about that.
Yeah, that's weird. That's weird. No, but Casper, and all
Yeah,
the other things that like the ghostly trio. Then they had a ghost horse and
what's the ghost horse's name?
nightmare.
Nightmare. Yeah, Nightmare. I forgot.
And then they had the what was the red ghost? Was it the little what was his name?
Spooky. That's a devil, isn't he?
Spooky?
What he a devil, a little
He was
devil.
a red ghost.
I don't know. Was it ghost? Spooky, the tough little ghost. Yeah, he was a dead kid. Thank you,
He
Gary.
was the
Same
yeah, he had a
dead
pitchfork.
kid. Thank you, Gary. Yeah. So yeah, Spooky. He said he was a tough little ghost.
He had a pitchfork.
Yeah, well, I thought he was like a little devil. So, but I guess he said a ghost.
What's the deal with the pitchfork? What's that all about?
No idea. I guess it's supposed to be bad. I don't know. He's like Crash was good. He's bad. I don't get it. I don't know.
So he stick you in the ass with a pitchfork. That means bad.
If you.
I would say that that's a good indicator.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, a lot of really, some of them interesting, some good. But I would say again, if you are looking for that type of subgenre horror ghost story, I would definitely say to check out some of the Asian imports, the things that are dubbed, the things that are with the closed caption subtitles. That some of those are very good. So we'll check those out as well as some of those that we stated. All right. Well, guys,
So let me ask you this, Penelope.
Yes.
Let me ask you. Let me say a couple of things.
Mhm.
First thing, I was absolutely wrong about the Treehouse of Terror. It was not last week. It is tomorrow. I made a mistake.
Terror again. I think out tomorrow. Don't forget.
The second thing is, since the month of October is over, does that mean that we have to stop watching horror movies and all that? Do we stop? Or is there something else that can keep us going through the dead of winter?
Remember, I just said
Dead
that,
of winter.
Yes, remember, because Adam was saying that this is the nightmare before Christmas season. So
Yeah.
we get to go all the way to Christmas, watching our horror shows and Christmas horror related things, and horror shows coming up. So we got a whole bunch of holiday horror stuff that's been created. I mean, how many of those? What's that Christmas show where the guy who's a Stranger Things, the Santa Claus, and fighting all those little demons or whatever they are? Remember that one? Krampus thing? And all the Krampus films. So that's all horror stuff.
And there's a whole channel on Shudder.
Yeah.
Get
so
your horror on.
And there's that knockoff movie, what do they call it, the mean one, where they basically have the Grinch going around killing people.
Well, you know the thing is, how many Thanksgiving horror movies are there?
Well, remember the Blumhouse come out with, what is it, 2 of them? One of them, that Pilgrim movie.
You think? Are you talking about that Black Friday movie?
Is it a Pilgrim thing?
There is a pilgrim person dressed up as a pilgrim killing people in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, kind of.
Then the one like that thing that the people come to your house and they're like terrorizing you to make you celebrate Thanksgiving. Remember that one?
Oh, you mean your extended family?
Yes.
Yeah, that's called Family Reunion. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. But you know, remember that the television thing? I think it's Blumhouse. I think it is Blumhouse, where they go to the people's houses and then they're like terrorizing you and killing you to make you properly be grateful for Thanksgiving. You don't remember that one?
No, I don't remember that one.
Yeah, that's out there. So I think that there are quite a lot of offerings in this period between Halloween and Christmas. That's horror and spooky and dark fantasy things. So I'm sure we'll be able to find, some more and more stuff as we, start digging a little bit deeper into it. Okay, and this Gary was saying hot stuff had the pitchfork. He was a devil. Spooky wore derby. Yes, I read a lot of comics. Okay, so yeah, what I'm talking about then is the hot stuff. The one who had the pitchfork. It's the devil. And Spooky, like you were saying, I think, Otto, He wears a derby.
He's the derby and does bad stuff, but he's
Huh?
not but he's not a devil.
Okay, yes, the hot stuff is a devil with a bitch.
Hot
Okay,
stuff is the
okay.
devil.
All right. See, now we know. Now we got straight on that. Thank you, Gary. Straight. Um. Okay, guys. So, anything else we want to bring out? Anything that's coming up? Any events? Any announcements anybody wants to make? What's coming?
Just in case he is watching, happy birthday to Tony Cade, black
Yay!
comic book entrepreneur down in Atlanta.
All
Today's
right.
his birthday.
All right. Happy birthday, Tony.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. Anybody else? Anything else? We slide into November and start preparing for the holidays. Okay. All right, y'all. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. This has been a lot of fun. Check out some of the items that we have, kind of listed here this evening. Also, if you look back up in the comments, I've posted the link to the let me show it. This is the link for how to set up your altar for the Day of the Dead. So if you are still doing this season, wanting to set up an altar for those that you are missing, your loved ones, people that you want to give that extra little push guidance, up toward, heaven or afterlife. This is a thing that you can do. And it also gives you an opportunity to talk about the things that they enjoy, the things you enjoy doing with them, and how those reflected, in the altar that you're setting up, in order to venerate them and to remember them. Right? Okay. So, with that said, thank you very much for joining us. It has been a lot of fun to discuss our thinning of the veil. We'll be back again next week here in the Otherhood. Take care of yourselves. Have a very productive next week and enjoy the remainder of your weekend.
Yeah. Love, peace, and
Oh,
hair grease,
Good
everybody.
night.
and leave fall back this Saturday.
Oh,
That's
Yeah.
right. Today's fall back tonight.
Okay, all right. Y'all fall back tonight.
I fall back every week.
Okay.
Good
Good night.
Good
night.
night.
Good night.